Good early afternoon, everyone. Before I get into this early afternoon update, I'm here with my son at his food therapy today, and I wanted to go over just some dynamics that are playing true right now in the crypto market. I want to go over some statistics that show XRP at an 8-month low as far as open interest, and how we could be staring down the barrel of about a 30% correction to $1.50, just over $1.50 range. Obviously, that would be if we fell through some of these levels, but that is something that could open itself up here. Some good news here, DGB's kind of flying against the market here, up 2.36%, which is good to see. So we'll quickly touch base on XRP. We'll read through the article and we'll touch base on DGB and XLM. We're going to do the XRP, XLM, and DGB style update, but I've only got about 10 to 12 minutes, so I really have to do this in a very strategic way. So good early afternoon, 12:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and continuing to show me the support and dedication. Red, green. I think it's very important to be on point here. I think we have to be, not so emotional, but we also have to realize where we're at within the, the part of the, let's say, the cycle, but also understanding that we're seeing widespread manipulation, and it doesn't just happen in crypto. You should see the commodities and gold and silver market right now. Gold's down almost over about $60 an ounce right now, as I think this is going to turn into be something that might be a little unusual here. And if you take a look at just one thing here, especially in the silver market, we fell outside of what looked like a pretty decent rising channel. And I got a feeling it's not just going to be crypto that they're assaulting here for a couple days. I think it's going to be widespread. I think it's going to be felt. Now, we've come from 33 to 31, but we'll see. I have a strange feeling that this is something deeper is going on here, and we're starting to shake out before we have this little tariff thing come start of next month. So it seems like something a little bit deeper is starting to actually happen here. But we're still looking. Is there still a wave 5 coming for crypto? Did we pull a right shoulder? These are things we're going to have to further discuss, but we'll look at it from a technical perspective here. With XRP to start. So at $2.20, I mean, we're on the border here. We're on a border here. The candle before this was bearish. We had more bearish pressure. Can we reverse out of it on this 4-hourly? We'll see. This was more, to me, it seems like there was more weight to the downside, but it never made a new low, hasn't made a new high. We're on that support structure around 214, but if this breaks, that's like the neckline of what would be an inverse head and shoulder. If that caves in, well, you're giving a lot of credibility to a head and shoulders pattern if that's the case. And then it would be a slope here. We'd have $1.98 and then down to $1.71 would be this, eventual bottom of this broadening wedge. And we know what can happen if this breaks down. We know what can happen. So it's better to be transparent with the down and upward moments. Because if we do reverse from here, and let's say this is the support structure on this little falling channel area, that also just happens to be acting as a neckline, we could bounce all the way back to 270. And then, that could give you a little bit of hope. But then you look over here, and we have built what looks like a little descending, could be a little bit of a bigger descending wedge or triangle within this broadening wedge formation. So if we don't fall outside of this formation, so to say, we could be okay. It's just a matter of we have to pay attention to a breakdown, but we already know we haven't done wave 5. And if this is going to base off of a traditional wick off, you'd have a 5-wave move, and the 4th wave would be a heavy corrective wave, which we're obviously in if it's a corrective wave still. But, there's things to be concerned about and there's things to be optimistic about. Right now, it doesn't feel so good because the exchanges seem to be having a combined assault on how to release some tokens. And we know Binance was releasing about $10 million worth of Bitcoin every 10 minutes for a set time period in the last day or so, which is interesting. We know that Binance also helped fund Bybit after they said there was a hack, but then they acknowledged that really it wasn't a hack. They just sent it to an unverified wallet that they thought was a different one from their cold wallet storage. So that's on them. Binance sent 80% of the funds to cover the missing Ethereum. And then hours after it pumped, Bybit started to repay Binance. And obviously there was profit to be taken by both. And they immediately dumped. Like, if you don't want to talk manipulation or you want to see manipulation, this is about as good as you'll see. Had this dump on what supposed hack to 2000. Bybit gets money from Binance and all of a sudden it pumps back up like ridiculously. Well, this was earlier. Where was this at when we did this on Ethereum? So February 25th, go back to, where's Friday? We were at 2,858. We came down to 2,620. So we dumped about $250 right away. Then Bybit floats them some money, or Binance floats them some money. It goes right back and makes a new high. And then they just start selling off, taking profit and giving back to Binance. And you see this overall just start to collapse. Also, we know that exchanges are starting to dump out heavily out of Ethereum, which, isn't it kind of funny that one exchange props it back up so other exchanges might not have to lose out and then they just start selling on the pump? I mean, it seems like an all-out scale to try to like liquidate retail. And that channel broke. We're on the bottom side of a very important support. And if that breaks, I mean, this is something we talked about for a long time. If this is a rising wedge and it breaks down, you're talking about a drop down to like $496 on Ethereum. And this was another area where we got very concerned about taking profit and stuff because this looked like a rising wedge and it was starting to confirm it when it got rejected here, and then it came back up and got rejected again. And that was like the warning shot in late December. Like, what the hell is really going on here? Now we're back to the bottom of what could be a rising wedge. So if that is a wedge, a rising wedge, that's bearish. And we wouldn't be looking for a pump in Ethereum this cycle. It would actually be the opposite. It would be the big trap, one of the bigger traps we've ever seen. And this would unfortunately be the worst case scenario that I used to talk about if 25 and late 24 is just a bear market rally of all bear market rallies and it's just a trap, like a big bull trap. And then it just drops the market on our head. And then most of the alt tokens will be well lower than they were before this started. XRP will fare pretty well. Not in the sense that it's going to hang on to any life, but it'll already be way up here. So if it does drop 80%, it won't be as bad as some of these other tokens. But most of these tokens are nowhere even near where they were the last cycle. That's the honest to God truth. So we're looking for some bullish opportunities, some bullish bounce here. Otherwise, this could get very ugly. So we'll see what happens here. XLM's fallen out as well from this formation. Now the next support structure, assuming we can't get back over 29.1 cents, would be all the way back down here to almost 22 cents. And in the daily, we're on the cusp of losing the 200-day. So these are very critical moments here. Very critical, because instead of bouncing out, what if this same motion bounced down? It can't. You know, like that's the honest to God truth. So we've got to, it would just reset. I mean, you're talking about a reset of this pattern. If this breaks, you would likely reset all the way at 8 cents or worse. And that's the crazy part. Yes, there's a big cup and handle that we're hoping is building, but we're talking best and worst case scenario here. And worst case scenario, this would fail and reset. But it still looks like, you know, we've got a big cup and handle formed. Who knows? Maybe it drags all the way down to 14, 15 cents. But as long as that stays formed, we should be in good shape. It's just how far can they bring it down? For XRP, the other thing we're not talking about, if this cycle were to end right now, it would be a massive failure for XRP. We went 7 years in a descending wedge and we would not have even tapped all-time highs. That is a unequivocal failure. So that is something we don't want to happen. We want to at least tap that all-time highs. There's still conceivably somebody who was in here from 2017, and even after this miraculous move up to 340, they're still underwater. That's the sad truth. We didn't even come up and tap liquidity from 2017, all of it. So some people are like, is it possible for XRP to hold all those billions or trillions of dollars in liquidity at that 320 to 350 area? I would say yes, only because we didn't come back up after 7 years and we left over $3 liquidity and then finally tapped it after 7 years. But we still have some that even though we came all the way up, we didn't go the last 40 cents to tap the rest of it, which You know, that can be seen as one of two things. And we've got the escrow dump coming in a few days for XRP. So the timing of all this couldn't be worse. So we are looking for some kind of momentum. But as you can see, most of the markets flip back upside down. DGB's up 2.65%. And DGB's on the outside of this little wedge we were talking about, big descending wedge we've been talking about. So if it can somehow hold this back test, but even DGB, that death cross doesn't look to be finished. It looks to be prematurely early to pull up. So you'd be looking at hoping that 006 area maybe in a couple days on Thursday, 0061. But we're looking to ride this outside. If this breaks, because this, for all intents and purposes, on a cup and handle, this came down very far. So there is a possibility that we reset. So don't get discouraged. Just pay attention to what's out there. And then XRP price chart, eyes 30% drop to $1.50 as open interest tumbles to 8-week low. Oh, I said 8-month low. I meant 8-week low. In the beginning, I said 8-month on accident. So XRP printed a symmetrical triangle on the daily chart, a technical pattern associated with strong trend momentum. Breaking below this technical setup and that drop in XRP's future demand may signal the start of a retreat towards $1.50. XRP sitting at $2.22 fell in tandem with the wider crypto market on February 25th. After U.S. President Donald Trump emphasized that tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico are still on as the month-long delay on the implementation nears expiration. XRP's price reacted negatively to the news, trading at as much as 22% of its value on February 24th and 25th to trade at $2.13. At the time of writing, the altcoin potential to drop lower was backed by decreasing open interest as per CoinGlass data. The chart below shows that open interest has dropped by 20% to $3.63 billion on February 24th to the current level of around $2.93 billion levels last seen on January 3rd. Historically, significant drops in OI have preceded major drops in XRP price. For example, the current scenario mirrors the XRP price decline when Trump's first announcement of tariffs in early February, leading to 43% dip from high of $3.13 on January 31st to a low of $1.76 on February 3rd. Meanwhile, XRP funding rates have flipped negative from 0.0077% on February 24th to minus 0.0003% at the time of writing, indicating rising bearish pressure. And the reason for that is if you open like a leverage trade, they're paying you to keep the trade open when it flips bearish in the funding rates. If it's negative, they're actually paying you to keep it open. Unlike when usually there's high times of demand, they don't need to encourage you to buy. So right now they're trying to encourage people to buy. That's never usually a good sign. Funding rates are fees exchanged between traders and perpetual future contracts to keep the current price close to the underlying asset spot price. When funding rates are positive, traders holding long positions pay a fee to traders holding short positions. When the rate is negative, short traders pay long traders. Additional data from CoinGlass reveals that over 57.6 million long XRP positions have been liquidated over the last 14 hours against 4.71 million short liquidations. So the XRP price chart looks to extend the prevailing bearish momentum that has seen it break below a multi-month symmetrical triangle. XRP's price action December 1st, 2024 and February 4th has led to formation of a symmetrical triangle pattern on the daily chart. And we know we couldn't break over that because we've been covering the symmetrical triangle and we actually started breaking down from it. So that could lead us all the way down to $1.50. That's a 30% drop from here. And that's just the bottom line. We could have forced ourselves into took the elevator up, took the stairs down on the right shoulder, and that is exactly what it's starting to look like. Now, can we get a nice push out? Nobody knows, but at this point, got to be careful. Got to be careful. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate you for watching this update. I'm going to go back and make sure my son is good.